Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
Hey, it's Fire Chief Jerry Strike from the Andover Fire Department in Minnesota, and you're listening to the SA Matters radio show with Dr. Richard Gasaway. His mission is to help us see the bad things coming and time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 54 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence environments. The SA Matters mission is simple, to help you see the bad things coming and time to avoid bad outcomes. In today's episode, I take on some questions from the SA Matters radio listeners, the SA Matters blog readers, and attendees of the SA Matters live tour events. I really enjoy getting questions from the listeners, readers, and attendees, so please contact me and let me know how I can help you. The first question is, you've shared many of the challenges we face as first responders when our brains get stressed. Are there any good things that come from our reaction to stress? The answer is absolutely. In fact, your brain, if it were unable to mount a highly regulated reaction to stress, you would probably die. The stress reaction is what allows us to be able to respond to danger. It allows you to make quick judgments and rapid reactions in dangerous situations. Your stress reactions are also hereditary. Your ingrained reaction to stress dates all the way back to the early existence of humans, your cave-dwelling ancestors. When faced with danger, like, say, a saber-toothed tiger, humans adapted their reaction. Their life-saving physical, chemical, and physiological responses were what developed into be our hereditary instinct or response to stress. The stress reaction enhances your physical strength. This also improves your acuity of your senses. The chemicals released enhances your ability to see and hear. You may be able to see things that you otherwise may not have been able to see if you weren't under stress. You may be able to hear things that you otherwise weren't able to hear if you weren't under stress. Some responders report an enhanced sense of awareness, accompanied by a burst of energy that when they arrive at emergency scenes, they say the stress improves their performance. Indeed, stress can improve short-term performance. However, it's important to realize that the stress reaction your body mounts is designed for a short duration of threats. As for the time duration of the reaction, think in terms of how long a threat event lasted when a cave dweller was being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. The whole event was over in just a matter of seconds or maybe a minute or two. The chemicals released under stress change the body biologically, chemically, electronically, and psychologically, but it is in short duration that this occurs. Once the chemicals dissipate throughout the body and the process is reset, you may start to suffer from some of the less desirable stress-induced biological, chemical, electrical, and physiological side effects, which I have discussed in numerous articles on the SA Matters website. So go over there, go to the search box, and type in the word stress, and you'll be able to access many of those articles. Thanks for that question. All right, here's the next one. You talk a lot in the programs about identifying and understanding the critical clues and cues during size-up. I'm a newer firefighter. Is there anything I can do to get better at this skill? I am asked variations of this question many times throughout my travels, Newer or less experienced first responders want to know how they can develop and maintain better situational awareness. The first step, of course, is understanding what situational awareness is, how it's developed, how it's maintained, how it's lost, and how it's regained. For those lessons, just go to the SA Matters website and search out situational awareness in the search box, and you'll find numerous articles where I've written about what situational awareness is. Next, though, is to identify which clues and cues are the most important based on the type of emergency that is being handled. For example, at a structure fire, those clues and cues might include the quantity and quality of staffing and other resources available, the building construction and the rate at which the building is decomposing under the stress of the fire, the smoke and fire conditions themselves, the color, volume, velocity, and density of the smoke and fire, and finally, the speed of the incident, how fast conditions are changing, often influenced by the volume of fire, the volume of contents, and wind conditions. Next is to assemble those clues and cues in a coherent meaning about what is happening in the context of space and time. And finally, and this is often most difficult, especially for newer responders with limited experience, is to make accurate predictions about future events and how they will unfold. The skill needed to look into the future requires experience and imagination. Newer responders can accelerate their experience by immersing themselves in case studies, near-miss reports, casualty reports, and videos of fires, especially those where things go wrong. One way to develop imagination is, for example, when you're reading an incident report, is to stop and pause and reflect on what you think might happen next. Or if you're watching a video, pause the video to make a prediction about how you think things are going to turn out in the video before you play it and see how they actually turn out. This entails not only predicting the outcome, which may be obvious if you're reading a line of duty death report, but also predicting the sequence of events that leads up to the catastrophe. Grade yourself on how accurate you were, then assess your performance. If you were accurate, what were the clues and cues that led to the accurate prediction? If you weren't accurate in your prediction, determine if you missed some of the important clues and cues, or if important clues and cues were missing, or if you misunderstood what those clues and cues meant. Each time you practice these skills, you're learning. The more realistic you make your experience in your mind, the greater the emotional attachment the incident will have, and the more likely the lesson will seep deep into your memory. Doing this can accelerate your learning and improve your situational awareness. Thanks for that question. Next, is there any way I can know that I'm suffering from auditory exclusion? Unfortunately, no. Auditory exclusion can occur during a high-stress event or from being in a high-stress environment. The narrowing of attention, sometimes referred to in first responder circles as tunnel vision, is not a phenomenon limited to vision. All senses, including hearing, can become tunneled. When this happens, the senses narrow or focus on a perceived threat. What the senses choose to focus on may or may not be the actual threat. The key word here is perceived. The brain helps you identify the threats by looking for indicators of danger. The main indicators are the things that are loud, bright, moving, or moving in your direction, as if you were being attacked. That means other responders operating in your vicinity may trigger your primal instincts and be perceived as threats, even though they aren't really. This can draw and keep your attention, and it can narrow your attention. and it can cause you to pay attention to what they are saying to you, and it can cause you to exclude listening to other sounds, including your radio. As with many human factors, it's difficult to prevent reactions that are instinct-based and in some cases are induced by chemicals and hormones being released by your brain when you're under stress. Thanks for that question. Next, how is it possible that a commander could hear a mayday call, acknowledge it, and then immediately forget about it? This question was provided with a little backstory where a responder witnessed this very event happen. We don't like to think about it because it makes us uncomfortable, but our short-term memory is very vulnerable to forgetting, especially when you're under stress. And most unfortunately, we have little conscious control over what gets shed from our memory, and as stress increases, the overload becomes even more pervasive. While it seems almost inconceivable that a commander would acknowledge a mayday and then forget that they had done so, it is not terribly surprising when the story was shared to me. In addition to the brain shedding information when overloaded, we are also subject to suffer from normalcy bias. When the brain encounters something so far beyond the bounds of understanding, reasoning, and comprehension, it can start to fabricate a new reality, one based on blocking out the true reality and replacing it with vividly imagined reality. For example, if it didn't make sense that there would be a mayday in the situation the commander found him or herself in, the ears may hear it and the mouth may acknowledge it, but the brain may not process and comprehend it as a real event. Good question. Next question. How did you discover or uncover the fact that first responders are being trained to fail? As I was studying the neuroscience that served as the foundation for my doctoral dissertation, I had an epiphany, and it wasn't an enjoyable one. I realized that after 25 years in emergency services, with most of those serving in some capacity or another as a trainer, I had trained first responders to fail. I didn't do it on purpose. I was training responders the way that I had been trained. I was under the assumption that if it was good enough for me to avoid becoming a casualty, then it must be good training. I frankly didn't know any better. Then once I started to understand how the brain learns and recalls, and how certain chemicals, called neurotransmitters, influence learning and recall, and how this whole process is influenced by stress, the light bulb came on. At that point, the seemingly dumb things that I had been observing first responders do for years suddenly came into clear focus for me. They weren't doing dumb things. They were doing exactly what they had been trained to do, or in some cases, not trained to do. As I started to present this topic as a sidebar during the Mental Management of Emergencies program, the attendees responded with their own experiences of the seemingly dumb things that they had done, and they now understood was a direct response of their training. It was from their feedback that I knew that I was genuinely on to something. I conducted some more research into brain function, including short-term memory and long-term memory and recall. And from that, the Training for Failure program was created. I can say now that it's a big problem. I know this because after I have shared examples of how responders are being trained to fail and the resulting consequences, every program attendee, and to date there has been more than 4,000 of them, who have attended this program have admitted to me that they have been trained to fail. It's scary to think about. The good news is the changes we need to make to ensure responders are trained to be successful are relatively minor. Minor meaning minimal additional amount of time and additional amount of expense. If you want to learn more, go to the SA Matters website and put Training for Failure in the search box. Before I close this episode, I want to take a moment and thank the departments and organizations that have hosted Situational Awareness Matters tour stops. Your efforts to bring the situational awareness and decision-making classes to your region are greatly appreciated. A few of the recent programs included the New Hampshire Emergency Dispatchers Conference, the Saskatchewan Fire Chiefs Association Conference, the Fire Department Instructors Conference, the Northwest Regional Fire Conference in Peace River, Alberta. If you're interested in an upcoming program, I will be in Greenfield, Indiana for a week-long Company Officer Development Institute, May 4 to 8. This is a really cool program. It's a week-long dedication to helping company officers solve problems at their level. No PowerPoint, no theory, no BS, just solutions for the company officer, helping them to keep the problems out of the chief's office. I will be at the Joint Base Lewis McChord Military Base, which is the home of the I Corps in the 62nd Airlift Wing, for 4 days, May 11 to 14. I'll be at the Alabama Fire College May 16, Frisco Fire Department May 27 and 28, Lodi, California Fire Department June 1, the Illinois Fire Service Institute June 4 to 7, and the Montana Joint Conference June 10 to 11. If you're interested in attending an upcoming SA Matters tour stop, just head over to SA Matters website and click on the blue box on the right side of the homepage that says Upcoming Event Schedule. Here's hoping there's a tour stop near you and we'll get a chance to meet up. If you're not a member of the SA Matters community of learners, please consider joining. There are over 5,000 members sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness and how to make better decisions under stress. The membership is free, and when you sign up, I'll send you a special report that I've created just for the new members called 25 Best Practices for Improving First Responder Safety. It's short and sweet, 25 lessons that can improve safety. If you're not a member, head over to the SA Matters website, click on the red box on the right side of the home page that says Free Membership. As a reminder, every episode of the SA Matters radio show has a corresponding show notes page on the samatters.com website. The most recent episodes are scrolling on the front page of the website. For older episodes, just type in samatters.com / and then enter the episode number, which I always mention at the beginning of the show. So, for example, if you want to access episode 50, just open up a browser, put in the samatters.com / 50, and that'll take you to a page that contains a link to the episode, which you can play right there from the desktop, or you can subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. If you want to get connected with me on social media, you can follow @Rich Gasaway or @SA Matters on Twitter. Those are messages there that I send out, tidbits about situational awareness, decision-making, and occasionally personal messages about my travels. The SA Matters Twitter community has over 14,000 followers, and thanks for your support of my mission on Twitter. You can also get connected with me on Facebook by liking the SA Matters page, and on LinkedIn, you can find me by searching Rich Gasaway on LinkedIn. Thanks to the more than 8,000 who've connected with me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Well, that's it. Episode 54 is complete. Thanks to our sponsor, Midwest Fire, and thank you to our listeners for sharing some of your valuable time with me today and for sending me your questions. I sincerely appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. If you've experienced or witnessed a near miss and would like to be interviewed on this show, visit the SA Matters website and click on the Contact Us link, and I'll thank you in advance for sharing your lessons learned so others may live. If you like the show, please go to iTunes and Stitcher Radio and subscribe, and leave your feedback and a 5-star review if you like the show. Not only will that motivate me to work harder, but it'll also help others to find the show. If you've been inspired and you want to learn more about situational awareness, consider becoming a member of the SA Matters community. It's free, and you can do it by clicking the red box on the right side of the homepage. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit samatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.